Will Back to Eden work in greenhouses?
Yeah, a covering is awesome on any material because it's composting, and so it's always feeding the soil. You're going to have to water because it's not raining, but the covering works anywhere. All the pots in our house with potted plants is all compost out of the chicken pen here, and everything's thriving great.
And wood chips on top?
Well, it's just that. No, it's that stuff.
Just that.
And it's just all the pots you see on here, all my mint and comfrey. That's all this stuff. It's just things are just doing great. If you go to my house, you can see this pot full of lamb's quarters and stuff. They're just gorgeous, and it's this stuff. It's just like, man, you can't help it but grow good in it.
I've been watching a lot of videos and listening to a lot of podcasts talking about medical herbs and how comfrey will kill you dead. What do you use comfrey for?
I eat comfrey a leaf every day. My wife says it's toxic, but 1 leaf a day is awesome and it's powerful food. I watch my chickens eat it; they're not dying. So maybe at some point it's bad, but I go 1 leaf a day, but I know it's very nutritional, very good.
My mom used to make green drinks with comfrey every day.
Yeah. Wow. And you guys are look great. You survived. So.
I have coffee grounds that I use in my garden. Should I put them directly in the garden or toss them into the chicken coop to get mixed up with the...
Whatever you want. Make it easy for yourself. If you like them in your garden, put them there. Put them in the chicken coop if you want them spread out.
It's hotter here than it is in Washington. What should I do if I think I need to water my garden?
Then water it. You can't hurt. You're not going to hurt it by watering. Especially with wood chips. There's no way possible to get too much. Wood chips displacement is too much, so just do whatever you want to.
Are there any wood chips you would stay away from? Walnut, pine, oak?
No, those are my favorite. I love all the stuff they tell you isn't good is the best. You know what? So I shared this. This is really, these people are awesome. I think God really loves to get my attention. He does these amazing things. This tree company brought me a whole truckload of nothing but walnut branches, chipped. We're talking the whole truckload. When they dump it, you got this 4.5-foot pile of raised bed wood chips. Okay? It's in August. It's not raining here. Somehow a walnut went through that chipper and didn't break, and it starts growing out of the top of this pile. No water, nothing but walnut chips in August. And I'm going there every week to mow the grass, and I'm watching this thing grow, and it's getting bigger and greener and looking really great. I'm saying, God, you get my attention. I'm listening. I can't argue with these results. This should not be happening. It's a raised bed. There's no water. It's the middle of summer. And this thing is bright green thriving in nothing, no dirt. Nothing but walnut wood chips. So I get it. Walnut's okay. I'm just telling you, man. And here's what I get in my spirit. Everything on the planet drops its needles and leaves every fall. And God removes none of them. You ever noticed? God doesn't come and take walnut and pine off the planet and put it somewhere out in the universe to get rid of, in a dump. Everything lays on the ground where it falls and everything grows fine. Come on. Come on. This is the thing that amazes me about the stupid stuff they tell us. We're not thinking. Look at the evidence. The evidence is quite clear. Everything is growing finer on all those things they say you can't. I don't get it. Where do they come up with this stuff?
How do you add compost to your garden? Do you pull back the wood chips or just lay it on top?
That was such a good question. Here's the thing that I love the simplicity. If you notice the Creator, who's omnipotent, who could do anything, never disturbs the ground, and he never mixes anything. All he does is layer. Every fall, a layer of needles and leaves. And next year, a layer. One on top of the other, period. And I'm telling you from my experience, it's the best. When I mix it, I got issues. And you know what's so cool about that? It's easier. It's easier. It's a lot of work to mix and till and grind and spread around. Just layer and walk off. Because nature knows what to do. It does it the best, and you can't improve on it.
And as soon as it rains, it's going to get washed through the wood chips down to the ground anyway.
It's creating compost tea, going into the soil, everything around gets green. If you just look at the evidence, stand back and watch, you're blown away, man, how good it was. It's just like, come on, man.
Do I have to compost rabbit manure before I put it into the garden?
No, just spread it out. Just take your manure and just spread it over the wood chips loosely. Broadcast it.
You've talked about how healthy the weeds are in your garden. Why would you want weeds?
I don't want weeds, but weeds are here because man is separated from God. God didn't create weeds. And what God showed me about weeds is very interesting. You see, it says all of nature is groaning and travailing, waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. God has everything in nature covered. And when man takes the covering off, nature reluctantly has to cover with weeds to protect the ground from blowing and washing away. They don't want to, and they're groaning and travailing about it, but because they have to maintain the earth. They're under God's order to maintain the earth. They immediately cover with weeds to recover the ground because we uncover it. It's huge. If you look in nature where the ground's never been uncovered, there aren't any weeds. You go out in forests, old forests, there's no weeds out there. Weeds only happen when man cuts down all the trees, takes the cover off. That's when weeds show up. It happened to Adam. He goes outside in this beautiful place God made, and weeds start to grow because he tilled the ground. The tilling brought the weeds. The uncovering of the soil brought the weeds in. Because nature's trying to recover and protect the ground.
I first laid down my compost, it's a mushroom compost, 4 inches thick, then put 6 to 8 inches of dark hemlock bark mulch. Then I topped it off with an inch of chicken manure. I know you said that bark mulch isn't the most ideal source. However, my question is, can I still grow vegetables with the dark hemlock bark covering? If not, is there anything I can do to compensate for that material?
It's not a good material because it doesn't have green in it. So what I would do is put grass clippings over it to bring the green back in, to get nutrients back into the ground. But, you know, if you make a mistake, just cover it. That's what's so cool about covering. You just bury your mistakes. You know, just okay, I made a mistake, just put another cover over it, it's good. And see that green grass on top, as water goes through it, will create compost tea and enrich that dead bark.
In Deuteronomy 22:9, it says, "Do not plant 2 kinds of seed in your vineyard. If you do, not only the crops you plant, but also the fruit of the vineyard will be defiled." What does that mean back to Eden gardening?
Well, all plants pollinate. That's what causes them to develop seed. And when plants cross-pollinate, another variety comes in, it changes what that original one was. And so to maintain the same variety, you have to have everything go in the same place. And so this is what's so diabolic about, you know, genetically modified organisms. People who've been growing food for generations, thousands of years, collecting their seed every year and replanting and always having food, in 1 year, with somebody planting genetically modified organisms next to them, that thing will cross-pollinate and totally sterilize and make all their seed they've had for hundreds of years completely dead. I'm telling you, man, it's huge. It's diabolic. It's completely evil. And you see, the word is just protecting us. If you want to maintain good varieties, they have to be separated. You can't have them in a place to cross-pollinate because that will alter their original design.
And that's why if you have 2 types of apples on the same tree, you don't want to use that seed.
Well, any apple seed is going to be different than the apple because you see, apples are cross-pollinated. The only way they bear fruit is another variety crossing over. That's what they need to do. And so when you get an apple seed, that apple is different than the original plant because something cross-pollinated. That's why they always come with new varieties, because they're planting seeds and like, oh, this is a cool one, so we'll use this, and they name it. You know, to maintain the same variety, you have to take a cutting out of a tree and graft into a rootstock, or graft into something, and that maintains the same variety. The seed is not the same.
The pear tree that you have over there, that for the life of you cannot find the name of, and nobody you've ever taken it to can find the name of, when are you just going to give it and call it the Paul Gautschi Back to Eden Garden pear?
No, I don't feel that. This tree had a name. I just don't know it, and for me to try to, rename it isn't right. It has a name. I just don't know it. That's not the tree's fault.
This person was watching the video where you talked about how someday soon you're thinking about planting rice in the wood chips just to see what would happen, but how you said that you don't think that it'll produce the rice.
That
because
won't fully mature because it's not warm enough yet.
and they mentioned that your grapes over there had the same kind of issue because they didn't have a heat sink. What would happen if you put the rice growing right next to, say, a bunch of firewood?
Probably do fine.
You think you would be able to grow rice that way?
Maybe.
I remember visiting some rice fields in Portugal, and they're covered with water.
Yeah, they all grow in standing water. And see, what's motivating me to do it is that wasabi and watercress also grow in standing water. I'm growing it here in wood chips with no water. So my mind is saying, well, if I'm doing it with that,
Maybe.
why not do rice?
I see.
And I'm gonna do it. I got some. I put some in the ground there. I'm hoping, anymore you don't. I probably should just. I got brown rice that I eat, and I'm hoping it's not radiated. So much of the stuff you're buying is sort of radiated, so you don't know. So, but I just stuck in the ground, see what's gonna happen.
But I do have one about this tree here.
Weeping willow.
Yeah. Why did you plant
I did, because it creates nice shade for the chickens in the hot summer.
And maybe kind of shades them from the hawk's eyes?
Maybe. But I just plant it for shade because it's pretty hot out here, and it's nice in summer to be outside and still get some shade.
How old is that tree?
Well, not very old.
I remember the first time I came here seeing it, but it wasn't as low to the ground as it is now.
No, it's growing, getting heavy.
And then that fig tree right over there in the garden, or in the chicken pen, that was accidentally put there?
Well, I put it there intentionally because I wanted to, have more figs, and because I know it's protected now because of this tree in the woods. It's going to be okay, and if you look, there's figs on it. I'm going to have figs this year.